Hi, everybody. This is Rhonda Cobb, the Money Coach, and welcome to our show. We are so happy to have you here today. Now, before we get started, let me remind you that we put a lot of time and effort into the new website, so please do stop by and visit it and give us a little feedback. It's rcmoneycoach.com. And of course, if you have questions about today's show or a past show, send me an email and I will hook you up with the answer. It's rcmoneycoach@gmail.com. Today's show is going to give you information that you are going to use again and again and again. And you're going to use it to build a better, healthier, happier life. Dr. Joan Kent has a PhD in psychoactive nutrition, and she was the very first person to document the brain pathways of sugar addiction. Joan has helped hundreds of clients with diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, cancer, inflammation, and mood disorders. She has also written 2 best-selling books, Stronger Than Sugar, which is about conquering sugar addiction, and The Sugar-Free Workout, which is about fueling for optimum performance before, during, and after workouts. So without further ado, I welcome you to the show, Dr. Kent. I am so excited to have you here.
Thank you, Rhonda. I'm really happy to be back.
It is awesome. Now more than ever, I got a little carried away with how much time I've been spending on social media. I'm, sheltering at home like everybody else, and I get my work done, and I work at my usual quick pace because I was used to getting all my stuff done in the office and then going out and getting all my stuff done that needed to be done out. Well, now I have time to be on social media. And the stress that people are exhibiting in their posts and the pictures of what they're eating they're putting in their posts. I'm like, no, keep scrolling. Don't look. So talk to us. Tell us. Enlighten us. What do you consider basic guidelines for healthy eating?
Okay, we will have to keep this basic, of course, because we could go on for hours, but I'm going to start by saying eat lots of vegetables, all right? So if you're putting your plate together for dinner, half the plate should be covered with vegetables, and don't be afraid to pile those vegetables high. There's really, in a sense, there's no upper limit when it comes to this. This is very healthy. And eat a variety of vegetables so you're not eating the same ones all the time. So that would be a very basic guideline to start with.
I love to build my plate and make it look pretty.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I did that once. There was this awesome buffet at this hotel in Chicago. I'd gone to a trade show, and they had fruits and vegetables and this wonderful cheese from Spain. And, they were making omelets. It was a really enormous breakfast buffet. So I had my plate all laid out with these beautiful colors, green and then red and then some more green and then purple and everything. And I was waiting for my omelet. And the chef looked at my plate and he goes, "That's the most beautiful plate I think I've ever seen." And he put the omelet in exactly the right place. But he was laughing because he was like, "Are you really going to eat all that?" And I said, "Yes." I said, "I had to make it just so. And then I'm going to go, and it might take me half an hour, but I am absolutely determined I am going to eat this breakfast. Do not expect to see me for lunch or dinner." And he just laughed. But I loved it. And that's, it's like, you got to make it fun. I mean, does healthy eating it doesn't have to be serious all the time, does it?
Oh, well, it depends on what you mean by serious. I mean, you can have fun while you do it. I think you just described that you had a lot of fun when you do it, but at the same time, when you did it rather, but at the same time, you were eating healthy things. What were you putting on your plate? Good stuff. So,
absolutely.
So it was both fun and serious simultaneously.
Absolutely. Now, when we're putting all of these vegetables on our plate, and whether you're just putting them on there or you're doing it like I do it and kind of make it all kind of pretty. Um, do the vegetables need to be organic?
I think that's a really good question. This is about avoiding pesticides. I get into conversations with people who say they can't tell the difference in the way they taste, but that's not what it's about. It's about avoiding pesticides. There's no upside to eating those chemicals if you don't have to. And also, organic foods have higher levels of antioxidants. That's good for our health. But I'll tell you, there's an easy way to find the foods that are grown with the lowest levels of pesticides. Just Google Clean 15 Produce 2020. So Clean 15 Produce 2020. That's not a URL. Those are just search terms. Just put them in the search bar. And what you'll find is a list that has mostly vegetables on it with a few fruits. But you don't need organic versions of those because you've just, found out that they have lower levels of pesticides than most. That's good. On the other hand, foods with highest levels of pesticides can be found on a list called Dirty Dozen Produce 2020. And once again, no URL. It's just Dirty Dozen, like the old movie, Produce 2020. And then that list has mostly fruits with a few vegetables. And spinach and kale, which are very healthy and we should eat them, have been on the Dirty Dozen list lately. So this is a list that will tell you what you should buy organic because they've been grown with highest levels of pesticides. So you want to make sure that you buy organic whenever you're eating a food that's on that list. But I think the most important thing is to do what you did. Eat lots of vegetables, organic or not. Don't obsess about whether they're organic. Will organic be better? Sure. But if you can't get them, just eat the vegetables. Don't skip the vegetables simply because they're not organic.
Absolutely. They're so good for you. Now,
Yes.
I want you to speak to something. This is one of my pet peeves. People with children, and they say, but they will only eat McDonald's drive-through. Explain to parents how you introduce a rainbow of foods from their earliest ages so that they eat more than drive-through.
Okay. I suppose what you can do is start by combining. I know there are people who specialize in dealing with kids and their particular psychology on foods. That's not me, but it doesn't really matter. But you could start by taking what they're willing to eat and then just adding a few things on the plate. And maybe, just for example, to get them eating different kinds of produce, you can find unusual colors like purple potatoes. Why not? The kid, oh, look at that, it's purple potato. I mean, it's kind of cool. Then the kid might think, well, that'll be fun. And of course, it's exactly the same as a white potato and tastes the same and so on. Texture's a little bit different. But that's, the thing is you can just get them eating little by little. Start with something they really like and then just add in. That's what I would do. And then gradually over time, you can sort of change the ratios. And I know kids can be difficult in this way. So I hope that would help.
Absolutely. But I find that, I did with mine, they're all grown up now, but they pretty much ate what I put in front of them.
Ooh.
one
Good.
of us was in charge of that, and one of us didn't drive through very often. Like,
good move, Mom.
the steering wheel just wouldn't turn. Oh man, I'm sorry I missed the turn. We'll eat at home.
That's funny. That's very funny, Rhonda.
And then I would lay it all out, on the plate or make little faces with it, from my story. I did a little
Yes.
playing in their food too. And they would eat what they wanted. And I never said you have to sit there until you finish those lima beans. If they put one in their mouth and it came back at me and they said, that's horrible, I didn't make them finish it. I threw those away. I'd give them something else that was green, I was like, I don't care if you don't like that. Just try it. Don't spit it at me until you tried it. And then once you tried it, I guess I wore my fair share, but they're pretty healthy eaters nowadays. So
perfect.
Yeah, but the one thing that I always wonder about is I eat it because it's so good and I love it because it's sweet and it's juicy. What about fruit? Am I eating too much fruit? How important is
Uh,
that?
Okay, I don't know if you're eating too much because I don't know what you're eating, but fruits and vegetables are usually lumped together, and they're not equal at all. I am pushing for vegetables. As you can tell, I started with vegetables, and we haven't even gone past that first thing. But I think what you should eat with fruit would be something like 2 servings of fruit per day. And a serving is half a cup, let's say, of berries or a medium-sized fruit. And the reason I say that fruits and vegetables are not equal is that fruits contain fructose, which is a sugar that's really bad for us. For example, it can raise our triglycerides. Those are fats within the blood. And having high triglycerides just by itself is a risk factor for heart disease. You know, everything else aside, just that is a risk factor. The other thing is fructose can give us insulin resistance. And insulin resistance is an underlying factor in a lot of the metabolic conditions that make up 75% of the deaths in this country. Seriously. So diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high triglycerides, heart disease, cancer, these things these things have underlying them insulin resistance, and that can be caused, especially in susceptible people, by too much fruit or too much fructose. And there are other things that it does. Hypoglycemia, which is low blood sugar. They're addictive. People think it's natural, so it couldn't be, but yes, people can be addicted to fruit, and they can give us cavities. And I want to say this is really important. After a workout, everyone wants to reach for something, something, I guess, sweet, like a banana or something like that. It's the wrong fuel after a workout. What we need after workout is starch and protein in a 3-to-1 ratio, not fructose. So it's even though we want it, it's just not the thing to eat after a workout.
So the 3-to-1 ratio, which part's the 3?
Oh, I said it on the starch and protein. So starch would be the 3 and protein
Okay.
would be the 1.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So like 3 ounces of starch and 1 ounce of protein.
Well, that way you can do it either with calories or you can do it with grams.
Okay.
Either way, like on a package, you'll see how many grams it has.
Mm-hmm.
That would be right. Or you can do it by calories if you know the calories.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Got it. That's cool. Yeah. See, I always wondered about fruits, but I had no idea that insulin resistance was adding to that much of the health issues that go on. That's a huge amount. Unbelievable. Well, now what else? That just begs the questions. What else do we need to eat for good health?
Okay, we're going to get on to a topic that I consider really important, and that is protein. Protein is super important. So go back to that dinner plate. You've got half the plate covered with vegetables, and then the other half right now is empty. So cut that in half again, and a quarter of the plate should have protein on it. And there are several reasons that protein is super important. For one, it can help boost the immune system. And right now, everyone wants to keep the immune system working because we all want to stay healthy and safe. So that's important. We can't function without an immune system. It's not just about preventing disease. Anything we're recovering from, whether it's a tough workout or surgery or an injury, a wound, anything like that is managed by the immune system. We need that immune system. And the immune system in turn can't function without protein. So I'll take everybody back. Let's go back in time to 7th grade biology, which I'm sure everybody remembers perfectly.
Oh, definitely.
So anyway, way back then, they taught us about amino acids, and they called them the building blocks of protein. And that's all you have to remember.